All right, part two. Welcome to the first 8 a.m. Friday Mastermind. It is coming live to you from Las Vegas. Yesterday, Todd and I put on the Modern Mortgage and Modern Real Estate Summit, of course, with Renee also. Just he's not here right now, so we'll take all the credit. But it was spectacular. And really, we can't take any of the credit because it would not have happened without 12 amazing mortgage professionals agreeing to come out here and investing in the marketplace. And was it, how many realtors did we have?
We had 5 realtors plus Krista Messerly.
Plus
first home
Krista
IQ. And it was a spectacular day. I mean, the energy in that room with, we had 65-ish people in there, packed in, and it was really cool to see not just the folks who invested in themselves and flew out there and bought a ticket, but then to see the speakers sitting there, Shayla in the third row taking notes, right? We tried to get all the speakers to sit in the back, and Shayla's like, hell no, I'm sitting up front, and grabbed a seat up front. And she's taking notes alongside everyone. Josh Metal taking notes. I mean, everyone was in there fully engaged all day. And then to see them, they didn't huddle up together afterwards. They all actually at lunch and happy hour were engaged with the crowd. It was just a blast. Yeah, well, it was just a testament. It might have been my biggest takeaway of all is the power of masterminding and the power of the most successful and top producing people are the ones that are taking the best actionable notes and the most engaged. I mean, I also had an experience where I did a webinar, and it was a leadership webinar. So I jumped out for a half an hour and did this webinar. And one of the big takeaways of that was we were talking about the #1 loan officer for American Pacific Mortgage and how he is the one that is adopting new habits. So like, hey, what he is doing got him to be the #1 loan officer of the company, but he is still adjusting his scripting. He watched our interview with Phil Jones, and completely adjusted how he is calling sales Boomerang alerts. So it was just a reminder yesterday that, the superpower of the most successful loan officers in America and most successful realtors is their ability to learn, unlearn, and relearn. Like, that is why they are so successful. Well, and I love that. I think that from a tips and tactics perspective, it was super interesting. I guess that's the right word. I was trying to think of the best way to put it. I was gonna say mind blown, but I don't know that it was mind blown. I think it was just the, kind of a little bit of back to the basics mixed in with, hey, these are such easy things for you to implement. So let me just give a couple of housekeeping things for those of you who are there. So #1, and maybe Paul, you can throw this in the chat and into Facebook, it's toddbookspan.me. So that's my website. It goes to my link tree, toddbookspan.me. And you can put in there, I'm going to be sending out at the end of the day on Monday to everyone who was a participant in the event, and I'll send it all to you in the community, all my taking action notes, right? My job was to distill what was the top takeaway and the top actionable idea from every speaker. And so I'm going to send that out. So just go there. If you didn't attend the event, just go in and put your name in right at the top. It just says get it. You put in your email address. And I will send it to you there. So #1, do that. #2, if you bought a ticket, you're going to have 30 days access. We are going to have up by next Friday. It always takes time from getting the video downloaded and then re-uploaded. So I'm just going to under promise and over deliver. I'm telling everyone by next Friday, it should be up before then. You'll have access. And once it goes up, you'll have 30 days access from that point. I laughed. I woke up this morning, 2 people who I know bought tickets this morning for the event. So I'm like, okay, either they know that they're going to get access because they missed it yesterday, or they think it's today and they're going to be thoroughly disappointed, but they will get access to it for 30 days starting next week. So just keep those 2 things in mind. Implementation, action, and in rewatch. So again, the other thing I would say is if you watch the video of what Dave and I did last Tuesday, having a mastermind, I already had someone reach out to me, and he is going to do a rewatch party with his agent. So he's going to go in. I don't know if he's going to pick the whole event, it was 2 hours, or if he's going to pick maybe 2 or 3 of his favorite speakers, and he's going to actually host an event with his real estate agents and create a mastermind using the content from the event. So think about creatively, #1, how you can learn, but more importantly, how can you help others learn? Whether you're a leader in the mortgage space and you want to do a replay with your loan officers of specific or the whole event or specific speakers, or how you can use that with your real estate partners. And then the last thing I'll say is I'm going to take off because I'm going to be hosting downstairs the implementation mastermind for those who attended. So about 40 of the attendees who are still in town, including Josh and Shayla and Jeremy and Kelly and a bunch of the Wally, I think will be there. A bunch of the speakers will be there as well. And I'm going to spend 3 hours with them, helping them take action, right? We're going to look at them personally first. We're going to look at their business second. We're going to look at what they learned yesterday third, and then fourth, how they're going to take action heading out of the event. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And wish you were all here, but just know that's what these events are all about. These events aren't entertainment, right? If you actually watched it yesterday, you were probably entertained, but if you don't take action on it, it's just entertainment, right? The whole goal really is to implement, figure out what you can do. And then the other thing I announced from the stage, because you know me, I sometimes say things without speaking, is that I will host an implementation mastermind sometime next week. Just be on the lookout for it. I'll post it up. It'll probably be towards the end of the week, just so I can have time to prepare for it and time to get people engaged. But what I'll do is I'll walk through, it'll be a 60-minute webinar, but I'll walk through the top tools and takeaways that I had from this morning for all of you of what you can do to implement these ideas. So that's where I'm at. What do you think, Dave?
I think I miss you already. I'm going to lose this guy to
you got
the
Nicholson, man. Come on. I mean, he's going to just light us up with
I know, but it would be great to have all three of us. But here's what I think, guys. I mean, what a special community we have. We had these 12 epic leaders and producers that really prepared to bring great presentations. And now we have this community, like, how do we take action from it? And you're a super huge gift. I can't wait to see the notes that you put. Make sure you subscribe to that. Did we put a link here? Oh yeah.
Yeah, Paul's got my back. Thanks, Paul.
So make sure you go there. Make sure you sign up to get those taking action notes powered by Todd Bookspan and WinByNoon. Paul did help out. So shout out to Paul, my executive assistant. He did help add to the value of those notes. Thank you, Paul. And one last thing before you go, one of the other highlights of the event for me was that we officially launched First Home IQ. So we had Kristen Messerly there. She came up and spoke for like 5 or 7 minutes and really shared what it is and more about that. I do want to make sure everybody in this audience and that follows us is aware of First Home IQ. You could go to the website, firsthomeIQ.com. You can become a part of the community and join the mission by just putting in your email address, and we'll keep you updated as it comes along. We also did start the fundraising, so we've got some super cool t-shirts. There's a t-shirt that folks can get for $100, and then there is a t-shirt where it actually says founder friend. That it is $1,000, so it is a very expensive shirt. But
shout out to Deborah Bird, #1. She's like, I bought first. I want to be the first person. She's like,
yeah.
She heard it, she was on. So
yeah, but it is more than a shirt. I mean, we are going to recognize the folks that made that first investment. They trusted us that we're going to create something amazing. The mission is there are 25 million people in America between the ages of 16, old enough to drive, and 21, old enough to drink. And our mission is to educate 5 million a year by the year of 2025. So by 2025, they will be impacted. A teacher will be providing education to them. We have a whole program targeted to college teachers and high school teachers. Parents, we're gonna be outreaching and getting parents involved in this, and we're leveraging the mortgage industry. Our influence, our network in the mortgage industry, to bring this to the marketplace. So it'll be a place that has amazing content to educate that demographic, and it will be a place where the creators, the financial creators that are creating content right now, influencers, financial influencers, will have a place to get distribution of their content and to upgrade their content. I want you guys to think, like, anybody that watches Netflix, how there's Netflix originals. Well, think of the content that we create for First Time IQ. It's like a First Time IQ original. But then we will also be aggregating all these awesome influencers, all with the target of folks between 16 and 21. They understand and they're inspired for homeownership. And homeownership is much more complex in this world today than it was in the past. While there is a huge affordability gap and challenge for folks, there's also more community resources, down payment assistance program, and families have more equity than ever. So there is nuance in ways that people can get into homeownership, but they need education. Anything you want to add before you jump?
I would add two things. So number one is, right, all the proceeds from when you buy the t-shirt go to First Home IQ. And what y'all don't know is that one of the deals that I made with Dave and Alex and Trust Engine, when we first started putting these shirts, the Mortgage Coach, the No Borrower Left Behind, is we've been saving up the proceeds of that to donate to some nonprofit of their choice. Well, guess what? They're choosing First Home IQ. So even if you're like, hey, I don't want to buy $100 or $1,000 t-shirt, if you're supporting it to shop.winbynoon.com and you're buying a Mortgage Coach or No Borrower Left Behind shirt, those proceeds are going to the charity as well. And I would just say, for me, you said as a parent, and so for me, I laugh. My daughter I got 3 daughters, and my daughter says, hey, Dad, I've been watching. Yes, absolutely. I've been watching this woman on TikTok, and I joined her Facebook group, and she's like, don't worry, I haven't bought anything. I'm like, okay, well, awesome. I love that you're doing that. Like, what are you learning from her? And she just laughed and she said, Dad, I'm just learning all the things that you already taught me. And it just resonates with me that what I would really rather have, because she teaches good content, but it's not great. And what I want is great content. And I want for me and all of you to have that ability for me to come in there, watch one of these First Home IQ videos with your kids and help educate them. And the bottom line is, we know that there's a financial literacy push in some school systems, but we know they're not going to do a great job. And this is a way for us to put our community stamp on the education that's going out there. And Kristen's just amazing. And she's already got stuff working with the Big Brothers, Big Sisters, where she's at. She's already got stuff working with some schools. I mean, the roar we've had around this has been great. And so many of you reached out to me when you saw my Facebook post on it. How can you help? Well, this is how you can help. For now, it's fundraising, right? Whether it's buying a $30 shirt, a $100 shirt, or being a founding friend at $1,000, that's how you can help today. And if your budget's not there, that's okay. We'll have plenty of other opportunity for you to help down the road.
Yeah, so Kristen Messerly is the spokesperson for this new nonprofit and the executive director. We couldn't be more stoked to have her helping us.
She's
we're the 3 of us are the co-founders, but she is the leader of this. So stay tuned for more content. Hope that you guys will, somehow support whatever meets your budget, whether that's an email, $100 shirt, a $1,000 investment in being a founding friend, or just representing Mortgage Coach, Sales Boomerang, Trust Engine, No Borrower Left Behind. So let's bring in our special guest, and then I'll let you get
Let's do that. And I see a couple people in that are live here, and I see Karan, I see Joe, I see Dave. I know for sure those 3 bought tickets and were part of the event yesterday. I'm sure some of the rest of you were, but those are having to be 3 friends of mine. So I saw when they bought tickets. So I would love if you guys too, while when we bring in Mr. Lender Launchpad, Scott Nicholson. I'd love you guys to also be part of the conversation, even though I'll be gone. I'll come back and rewatch it. I'd love to know what your top takeaways for, who was your favorite speaker? What was the favorite things that you learned? Be putting it in there so they can talk about it. So as always, brother, appreciate you.
Right on.
You're not gonna let me go. You want me to say
no?
Take Scott.
Go.
And just for the record too, we owe a big debt of gratitude. Sorry I didn't help you who are watching this virtually, but we could not get Instacart or GoPuff or any grocery store to deliver alcohol for our happy hour to the studio. And so Scott Nicholson Ubered over there with us, stayed in the Uber, drove and picked up all the alcohol and brought it back. And we also had water, so it wasn't a big slush fest. In fact,
it was just beer and high noon.
Yeah,
so
beer and high noon, but he ran our errands for us, so that was awesome. So I'm grateful for that. But I'm also grateful for the product he has. I mean, if you watched Denise Donahue's presentation about how she's using it, it got me certainly excited about it. And then I'm going to go home and punch my business partner, Matt Baker, who we paid for an account for, in the gut for not using it sooner. So thank you, Scott. Come on in, and I'm going to sneak out behind you guys.
Take care. All right. So we've got Scott Nicholson, and I mean, obviously been a monster friend to Mortgage Coach for decades. In fact, there is a lot of innovation within Mortgage Coach that came from him as a voice of customer. The seller buy down analysis in the Mortgage Coach. He was the inspiration from that. He helped us design that. And then he's helped thousands of loan officers turn seller buy downs into competitive advantage. But I wanted to have Scott come. He was one of the influencers in the room. By the way, how'd you like the event?
Come on. That was next level. It was really good.
Yeah.
I have a bunch of notes too. We'll go through those, but yeah.
It was. I'm very proud of the event. I mean, if not the best, one of the best events in the history of the mortgage business, in my opinion. And so, but I asked Scott specifically to come here because what he's doing is very important. Denise Donahue, who was, based on production for the past 6 months, was the #1 producer on that stage. No taking nothing away from any of the other speakers. She just, she's killing it. And a lot of why she's killing it, if you watched my interview with Kai McBride a few weeks ago, he really broke down there's selling and there's marketing. And in a market like this, you can only make so many sales calls a day. You can only call so many people. And then another challenge is that you need to talk to more realtors now. Realtors aren't doing as much business. So if you could have hit your goals based off of the referrals from 20 realtors in previous years, well, now you need 40. And because even the best aren't doing as much business. So Kai made a really good case that it's all about marketing. And guys, marketing is all about scale and your ability to distribute. And so, Denise Donahue got on stage, gave an incredible presentation, and she listed out 3 technologies that are cornerstone to her business, which, by the way, MortgageCoach is one of those. Although the way she's delivering a lot of her MortgageCoach reports is within a lender launchpad experience. So, Scott, before we first of all, feel free to pepper lender launchpad in anywhere you think it makes sense.
Sure.
But why don't we just start with takeaways from the event? What were your, maybe top 3 takeaways?
Yep.
And then I thought maybe we would scroll through our notes because we do have notes. Todd's going to share them with you on Monday after he gets done really dialing them in. But we've got some notes that we'll go through and we'll break this down. But why don't you, I'm going to jump off stage, let you just share top takeaways. And then also, after you share the top takeaways, why don't you make sure anyone that missed what Denise shared, you at least let them know what she shared from stage.
I can actually take that link and post it in the people can watch it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
Well, go ahead.
Let's see. Let's talk venue. I think venue, getting here Wednesday and I walked in the room, the words out of my mouth were, oh, wow. This is like, it's almost like a unique experience you walked into. So when I was talking to someone on the phone yesterday, they're going, hey, how is it? And they wanted me to describe it. And the best way I described it to a buddy was, it's like going to a Stagecoach event, which is a large concert, right? You have all these stars, but instead of on the polo ground, we did it in their getting ready room. So it's just small, intimate with these massive stars at a high tech. So the experience was incredible for this. I think, how many guys do you have? You had like 60
seats.
Yeah, 60 seats. So I mean, I didn't understand how that was going to work out, but once you got there and you realize the venue and that was a huge experience for those 60. Number 2, I think that there's a few messages that really gravitated to me, and you should understand is the struggling that these leaders went through at certain times of their life. I mean, I can Wally's story, Josh Metal's story, Robin's story, but also led to perseverance of. So I think that's very applicable in today's market, just how difficult this market is. So I think the message of relatable struggles, and they worked through them and they persevered and got to the other side. Also, Renee said something, and Renee's such a brilliant guy. He said, and I'm going to paraphrase it, he basically said, stop trying to be happy, or his quote was, you're only happy or excited for just a small, most of it's struggles. So you have to learn to deal with most of your life with the struggles. And when we get that little bit of excitement, and then it's going to be fleeing and struggle. So I thought that was a big mind shift for me. Then in tech, I mean, let's get into, and that's kind of where I'm going to bring some stuff for you guys today, was Denise, right? And it's funny, I think of Dave when I'm talking here, because when he sees a MortgageCoach presentation go on stage, that's like a proud father moment. And I had one yesterday with Denise, and Denise has really implemented Lender Launchpad in her business. And another word that was bringing back to me, sorry, we're in Vegas in not a few hours sleep, I got a lot of sleep, is leverage. Everyone talked about leverage, and that's what Denise is using Lender Launchpad for. And that was my proud dad moment, so to speak, of having her on stage, and she's leveraging that technology. And what's cool about it, and I'll put a link of her actual presentation, how she's bringing all of her tools together, which is her YouTube, which is her MortgageCoach TCAs. she didn't show it, but she did kind of her tech breakdown or 3, but she's using Lender Launchpad and MortgageCoach for rate shopping in this market. That she might be the only one I'm seeing doing this very effective. And she's posted them in her group. So she's leveraging her technology, packing them together. And I think, and I'll go one more spot on this, is with all of them on stage and hearing what they're saying, their messaging, education. And like Todd set up, or Dave set up Home IQ. Is it Home IQ?
First Home IQ.
First Home IQ. And that was a common theme yesterday. They're all educators. They're all great communicators. They're all educators, and they're all hardworking. I think that's really the 3. If you can put those together, be the educator, leverage, right? And then roll up your sleeves in this market. I think those are pretty good takeaways in there. So you want me to dive into some individual stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
Share your stuff.
So let's say, I think the big one that caught me is Wally's. I mean, Wally built a career on annual mortgage reviews. And I think that's a really important message in today's market, and such an easy thing for people to do. And I actually will put a link up at some point during this, or I'll post it in the group. I'll give you a consumer-friendly annual mortgage review and how I do it, not on the scale of Wally, but a very simple method you can take and create an annual mortgage review in Lender Launchpad and text that out to your past clients in a private setting. And so I think that's important because Wally was leveraging other referral partners into that. So he's taking his annual mortgage review, right? Doing his one-to-many video. I don't know what his actually look like, but I'll share mine. I take a final CD, make it consumer friendly so they can have that for tax purposes. I did a custom CD based on notes. If this was someone that we did a 10% down, right, and market was appreciating, I showed them a custom TCA so we can leverage and get out of that. I brought in my CPA, I brought in the trust attorney. So everyone's together on this private Lender Launchpad account, which was an annual mortgage review. So think of the things I just checked off right now. I checked off leverage. I checked off tech of bringing my resources together. And I'm putting it, and I text all 62 of them out. I put them on their cell phones, and the open rate was 58 of the 62 of engagements, and they can take those documents and get ready. So there's just one example on how you can take someone who's built a massive business as Wally, and he's leveraging and getting under other referral partners. There's just one. Number 2, and with the agents that were there, they're all, I mean, come on, with Mitchell, and there's a few. So we were at lunch, and it's funny conversation. We're at lunch, and Todd and Dave gave us challenges, say, hey, I don't want you to sit next to your buddies. I want you to break up. Everyone be separate. I want you to have a discussion of what are your 3 takeaways. And so I was on a table with one of the big agents, and I asked her, I go, hey, just real quick, how do you feel? What is your response when someone cold calls you, right, and asks you for coffee or just an appointment? And she goes, be honest with you, I don't like it, because 1, I don't know you. 2, I don't have time for that. And then 3, how can you give me something of value like in there? So it was more of, and I'm going to help you with this, is if you make the phone call, be careful of that, because you're not the only one making that phone call, but you have to back that call with value. And I'm going to show you some stuff on Lender Launchpad. I'll put some links in there. And then we got to open up the discussion a little bit more. And so I showed her a presentation I did on FHA, where, so I said, without naming her name, I said, hey, what if I created a piece of content with my financial background that I can give you? We can go out into the marketplace and I can educate your buyers. For example, FHA just reduced the MI premium by 30 basis points. And I show it with a bunch of TCAs. And in those TCAs showed 2 things. 1, I'm creating affordability with the FHA loan. Number 2, I'm actually giving him the same payment. I gave him 60,000 more house. She goes, that's value. That's what we need. We need to partner with you guys because your financial background. Just don't make a phone call to me blindly and think I'm going to show up for a coffee appointment. But if you were to text that to me and say, hey, I'd love to meet you for, a quick meeting or whatever, or virtual, but here's the things I want to talk about. That's your 1-2 punch. That's what you need to implement moving forward, because the phone calls are tough and they have their shield up because 600,000 LOs are trying to do the same tactic with no 1-2 punch included in there. So I think that's important.
All right. So before I just pull up the list here and start going through all the kind of the core takeaways, I do want to just kind of list out, like, just, I don't know how many are going to come out of my mouth, but just things that really struck me about what took place on that stage. So first of all, everyone had an uncommon level of competitive spirit. And Nicole Ruth really called it out. I am competitive. And so there was just a drive and a statement of, I think Jason Mitchell said, I would rather, I would hire,
I'd hire a hustler over
drive over talent.
Yeah.
Someone with heart and drive over talent any day of the week. So that was and I think that was a commonality in the room. Now the people on this stage, many of them told some really tough times that just turned them into who they were. And Shayla Gifford opened it up with, what's your story? Pick your story. And so they had all, gone through hardship and it decided, I am going to be number one, or I am going to turn this into something positive. They chose their story. And guys, we're in a tough time in the market. And we all got to choose our story, and is our story going to be a mortgage story of success? And it's up to you. I'm not here to judge. Not everybody, is their goal to be, I want to be number one. But whatever your story is, whatever your goal is, pick your story. I do think it's a time to write down and document, like, redocument. Maybe you have a plan for the year, but make it simple. Make it a simple paragraph of, I am picking my story of the type of mortgage professional I want to be. So that was super common and consistent. The word scale just came up over and over and over. And I've interviewed enough top producers that I know that, you don't find a lot of $100 million producers that are doing it by themselves. In fact, you don't find any. I mean, first of all, to do a loan, you're not doing it by yourself. Even people who say, oh, I don't have a team. You have a team. Everybody has a team. No one is winning by themselves in this business. But it, when you look at the different levels of people graduating, and the top producer of mortgage and real estate was Jason Mitchell, who did 3,300 units. 7,400 units for 3.3 billion. No, he didn't do it alone. He has figured out a way to scale his business as a realtor in a very unique strategy. So it wasn't the takeaway from Jason wasn't his strategy. It was just how he's always strived to find scale in his business. Lender Launchpad provides scale. MortgageCoach provides scale. Sales Boomerang and Trust Engine provide scale. Video provides scale. Being a good leader so that you can manage and build teams creates scale. But that was just a constant theme, is how are people getting scale in this market?
Also think value. I think value, that was brought up a lot too, from like the agent side of the fence. And I think just as an industry, I think the industry, they know value in their mind, but they can't articulate it. They can't showcase it. They can't keep it simple, right? I think showing value, like a mortgage coach.
Well, every single person on the stage was a mortgage coach. Now, I am the host of the event, but I mean, the best loan officers are not delivering price. They're delivering advice. And they're turning their databases into data banks. They're very obsessive. Wally has a database powered by Sales Boomerang and uses MortgageCoach. By the way, here was another example. So Shayla went first. Big takeaway there was pick your story. I mean, there were more, but I'm going to call that out because we have a lot of people to go through. Jeremy Forcier, it was all about how to turn an application into a gold mine. And he talked about how there's 17 referrals there's always 4 opportunities for every loan application. And he actually got 17 from one application in 30 days. So remember, guys, Jeremy is asking every single client in process for a loan in a very strategic way. He's interviewed enough times. I think everybody knows the script. If you don't know Jeremy's script, to get referrals, put a question down below and we'll give you a link to a 4-minute video on how he does it. But number 2, by the way, scale.
Can I comment on?
Dude, yeah. Let's
So,
keep going.
let's put Jeremy's presentation, a sentence for you originators. Jeremy's taking the 1003. He's looking at employment. He's looking to see the employees and he's leveraging that, and he says, hey, Dave, would it be beneficial if I spoke to your employees, right? To show them how to get into, home ownership. There it is. Oh, there it is. That's leverage, right? Looking at the 1003, like this is a guy I want to talk to. He has 40 employees.
Yeah. And then Nicole Ruth, who went 3rd, again, her competitive spirit was just, it was so obvious. So, inspirational. But my take with her is make everything visual. She had made, her goals visual. She had made her, her plan and her goals visual. She shared that with slides. For anyone who missed that, there will be a recording of that. And even if you didn't see the live event, you can still sign up and see the recording of it, but she made it visual. Dan Keller was, what is that? We're at 4th now. I'm going to quit naming the numbers so I don't keep in touch with them, but mindset, sales resistance. My big takeaway from Dan was we need to be problem finders. Like we need to uncover hidden opportunities within our database, within the customers that we serve. And when I think of uncovering hidden opportunities, just to get everybody's mind going, there are a lot of families that have equity and they have the next generation, they're called kids, that are coming into those years where they could own a home. And those families aren't thinking, you know what? I could help my kid buy a 4-plex or a triplex, or buy their first home, house hack, get a 3-bedroom home and rent out a couple bedrooms, or Airbnb a property. Like I helped my daughter buy a triplex, and the front unit, which is the big unit, practically cash flows the whole thing. And she's got a whole roadmap of how the 3rd unit she's going to turn into an Airbnb, and she's going to end up almost doubling the income from when she bought it, and living rent-free, housing-free in a triplex in a really cool market and making money, and learning about real estate. And by the way, there are millions of families in America that could do that, that don't know they can do that, but they need a loan officer. Excuse me. We don't want to use the word loan officer. They need a mortgage advisor, a mortgage coach that is using Lender Launchpad to educate the family. Hey, did you know that, you might be able to pay for your kids' college education, help them start building wealth with real estate, and actually reduce the cost, if not eliminate the cost of going to college. Like, guys, that's what I talk about when I'm like, the family didn't think about it. Loan officers loan officers don't think about it. Mortgage advisors, mortgage coaches create those opportunities. And there's millions of opportunities like that, making sure that their database is monitored so that every single opportunity, thank you for the hearts, everybody. That is a good one, right?
Yeah.
That is a good one.
Yeah, that is good.
Do you have an example of that on Lender Launchpad?
I do.
Where can anybody want to see Scott's? Let's not give it to them unless they want it. If you want to see an example of how Scott would help educate a family to push their, let's just say kids that are high school to graduated from college age into helping them buy their first home, house hack, duplex, let us know and we'll get you a link to that. You were going to say something else?
Yeah, I think because millennials, right? They're all about, funny, I don't know millennials that well. I got my nephew's a millennial, but they're always trying to leverage, right? Like, hey, I like the investments. They're always looking for investments at a younger age, which is really nice. So they grabbed, Ryan Weiss did it.
Right.
Yep. So Ryan Weiss, who's a millennial, so he's taken a millennial type strategy himself in delivering that content right into the millennials. And what's cool with Lender Launchpad is you can put two TCAs together. So if you need to extract cash from mom and dad, you can show that. Then the second TCA right underneath it or with it is the actual purchase of the triplex. And you can show different type of payments. What does a conventional look to a conforming and all that stuff? And then add a slight little PDF. You have something with your branch or your information, you have that. So you have just a ready to go, correct content in delivering that right into the family.
Shivani Peterson, the psychology of sales in a changing market, how to attract business in a difficult market. Talked a lot about your story. Anybody who follows her on Instagram will know, like, she's got a story, and it's authentic. I mean, she owns who she is, and then she just talked about listening. You know, I think she actually told the audience, "Shut up."
Yeah.
You know, it was like, kind of what, like she was really making a point, like, you know, ask these real questions.
Yeah.
Shut up. Listen, don't have an agenda that you're trying to drive with the consumer, and help them make informed decisions. And again, she is a mortgage coach grand master. I've interviewed her multiple times in our community. I just love her energy. I love her vibe. I love her authenticity. And then I love the way she delivers true advice. Like, she is not someone, you know, and nothing against mortgage coaches out there, but sometimes mortgage coaches, by the way, yourself included, like, Scott always wants to land on sell or buy now, you know, like she is literally like question and then like, oh, let's just play with this thing. Like, she has no strategy or product that she wants, that she, you know, she's going to lead with. She is just delivering tailored advice.
Yeah, she was, man, talking about, she's probably the newest one, right? And my big takeaway, really, of the bigger takeaways was the women dominated, I think, was wow. I mean, from Shayla to Ruth to Robin to
Robin Lavasser's story was insane.
So she's also a lender. Shivani's also a lender launchpad client. The point is this, guys, is you get someone that talented who are all rolling up their sleeves, and I could get some tech and get some mortgage coaching and lender launchpad. Wow, that is a dangerous recipe to take on market share. You know,
totally.
So I would be nervous if I were you guys, if I was in Shivani's market, because she is a super
Oh
talent.
no, she's going after it. She's building a community within a community that she lives in. Kelly Zitlow, and it was cool seeing Shivani and Taylor. They're both in Reno. They're both market share leaders competing with each other, and they spent tons of time, and you could just tell they were like masterminding. Like, we are our own competition. And just a reminder, biggest takeaway of all is the best are always learning and getting better, and they're always masterminding with each other. Kelly Zitlow, creating an unforgettable client experience. And, you know, my push to the audience is go through and audit every part of your consumer experience. And is it unforgettable? I mean, is it a good mortgage experience? Or is it literally the best financial advice a consumer ever got? And I can tell you right now, with Kelly Zitlow, with Shivani, with all the mortgage coaches on this stage, like, it's unforgettable. And they are crushing CPAs, financial planners, realtors, every loan experience that someone ever got. You know, and by the way, I had Michael Barnes come up to me and tell me of a experience he had where a C-suite executive who was referred by another C-suite executive was just raving about this total cost analysis that he got. So, are you forgettable? Guys, Robin Lavasser's, or no, I don't want to miss Sean Kaplan. Sean Kaplan, you know, he was my first interview of the year, where his use of video, his raw authenticity was just off the chain. I mean, it was so good.
Well, like him, I don't know him that well, but I'm a true fan after this event of him. Wow, because he's doing video to get trust, right? So if they trust me he used the sentence, if they trust me or feel safe to reach out to me. That's what he's trying to, you know, create content for people to feel safe. Like, hey, Sean, here's what I got. I trust you, and I feel safe communicating to you. So I thought that was a huge thing for Sean. I'm a big fan of his. I like the accent too.
Yeah, he's cool, dude. I mean, everybody was super cool. Guys, Robin Lavasser's story. I'm not going to try to tell her story, but let's just say early in her mortgage career, she had a couple, you know, bosses, leaders that really told her she can't be a top producer and have kids, and they were pretty it was pretty shocking,
Dude.
But
This
by
day and
the way, I
age.
know it's real.
Yeah,
Those types of things happen, but man, she took that, proved everybody wrong, became the market leader in, I think, Eugene, Oregon.
Yeah.
And her last year full-time originating was like 672 units, and she just put a big explanation mark on your intention changes everything. And then she called out Shayla Gifford in the audience, and she said, Shayla, I was at an event, I heard what Shayla did, I was just like, wow, she really inspired me.
Yeah.
And she chose her story, and then she became who she was. Like, it was just a theme throughout the event.
And that's a message that it's going to resonate to a lot of people, because people are struggling big time, and they think sometimes they're the only ones. And you hear that story going, holy smokes, if she can get through that, shit, I can get through this.
Yeah. And then, so Wally was, how can you double your income and double your time off? And he has this
Leverage
24/7 mindset.
Yeah.
And when you first hear it, you're like, oh, does that mean you're working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week?
Mhm.
No, the opposite of that. And it was a story of leverage,
Mhm.
leadership,
Mhm.
and being very intentional and planning from year to year.
Mhm. I have a few things with that.
Yeah.
So number one, I'll tell you some funny stories with Wally. So hello, Wally, if you're listening. So here's a couple things. I reached out to Wally. I don't know Raleigh that well, prior, I get to spend some time with at this event. So I reached out to him about Lender Launchpad, and it was where we got a rate alert. So I reached out to him, like, okay, great. Kind of like, hey, I'm good, thanks. All of a sudden, a couple months later, he goes, hey, Scott, it's Wally. I go, yeah, what's up? He goes, we need to meet with you because I have a couple of LOs on my team that are doing really well. I go, absolutely. And so Wally and his team now are Lender Launchpad. But so that's one thing. He's understanding technology, right? And they're making that shift, right, into that, adopting it, leveraging it. But here's the cool thing with Wally. Think of Wally and I's relationship. The last 24 hours went down like this. And think of, I'm an LO and Wally's an agent. So I just asked questions with Wally. So Wally, what do you do? I found out he played golf, right? I didn't know that. So, and I was an ex-golf pro. And so I found some common ground and I dove into that relationship. So the point is when you're with your clients or your referral partners or your agents, ask those questions, and it's about them. And I dove into Wally, and then all of a sudden, it's like, we're talking launch monitors, we're talking, his son's golf swing's off the charts. And then what he's done as far as going to, he's playing he's going to the Masters, playing. So the point is when you go after your relationships, right, your agent referral partners, try to go deep with them, right, and find common ground. So if Wally was an agent partner now, I think I'd have a pretty good chance. And I could show value for days, right? But I needed to break him down a little bit to see if he's willing to commit with me as a referral partner. So I think that was a big takeaway. So Wally, I already said it, his annual mortgage review makes no sense why you're not doing an annual mortgage review. Heck, you could even do, he called it, what did he call it? He did his annual mortgage review in like a mortgage checkup, or I don't know, whatever, there was a term he used. That's a great one for every 6 months, because every 6 months, let's say after a purchase, there's your new value. Let's say we start with an FHA, 6 months later, we gain some equity. And so taking the TCA, combining that with Lender Launchpad, and then sending that on your annual mortgage reviews. And I'm watching LOs in my community at Lender Launchpad. They go custom BombBomb video, they go TCA, they go PDF, let's say, of the final CD for tax purposes. And then they'll loop in their trust attorney, their financial planner, or CPA with them all in this one presentation. So that's the point. You're leveraging tech, you're leveraging a situation, and you're in front of them. And I was building my little annual mortgage reviews. I did 60 of them in about 20 minutes because it would just copy, duplicate, client's name, final CD, one-to-many video. And that was whole Denise's thing too. So pay attention to Wally's in particular. And that's a great one to take your first action step. If I got anything out of this event, I'm doing annual mortgage reviews like Wally. And Dave's busy. He's a busy man.
No, I'm just, Getting my notes ready.
And then
So
who's our
after
next
Wally,
one? Oh,
Denise,
yeah.
although we kind of already covered that,
Yeah.
but I mean, she just did an incredible job of talking about how America spends 7 hours a day on the phone. 44% of homeowners in 2003 are expected to be first-time home buyers. Anyone younger than 30 years old grew up with a smartphone. You know, she just really gets, I'm going to say first-time home buyers, but let's face it, the whole world has gone digital, speaks digital. It's not just millennials
She
and
talked about her
Gen X.
mom getting
Yeah.
on that. Yeah.
Everybody does. And she's leveraging technology to create a brand, and she's getting scale. And remember, she was, in terms of her production over the past
7 months.
7 months,
81 million.
yeah, her and Nicole Ruth were the two top producing. And they both, if you follow either one of them on social media, they're killing it on social media. They're building brands. They're advisors. They're educators. They're, focused on all the right things, and they have scale, so, Josh Middle talked about the 6 rituals to maximize your personal freedom. And this is one, water and hydration. Guys, I mean, it sounds like you just smiled, but I mean,
I did it. I drank like 4 bottles last night because I couldn't sleep last night because I was dehydrated.
Yeah, like it's
simple stuff.
It's funny, but it's real.
Oh yeah.
Like especially when we're stressed out. Like nothing is more important when you're stressed out and you're going through tough times than sleep and water. And Josh, felt that it was such an important message. And one of my closing thoughts with Renee Rodriguez, well, as the co-founder of MortgageCoach and the chief innovation officer of Trust Engine, I mean, our technology is really becoming ubiquitous in the mortgage space. But trust me, if a loan officer isn't willing to learn, unlearn, and relearn, the technology is not going to change the game for them. And so it's kind of funny. I had this takeaway that I don't know that I'm going to start doing, when I do MortgageCoach rollouts and training, to like, hey guys, it starts with water and sleep.
Yeah.
But in my mind, I was actually thinking that like if half my audience isn't drinking enough water, it isn't getting quality sleep, then I'm literally talking to zombies. And the chances that they're going to actually unlearn and relearn something new is greatly gone down. So I don't know. I haven't figured out how to do that.
Call him Dr. Metal.
Yeah, Dr. Metal. But
yeah,
I am pretty nerdy about my sleep. I wear it or a ring, and I'm all over that. But I am going to upgrade my water game. I mean, my wife reminds me all the time. It's kind of funny. My wife is always like, "Did you drink your water today?" And I was like, "Leave me alone." And then Josh Metal.
Yeah. Now
Josh Metal told me to drink my water. I'm gonna put that on a higher priority. Hope my wife's not hearing this.
And what's funny, what Josh says, if you're not hydrated, you're going to be slow, fat, and stupid, or something like that. He said, I go, shit, that's me.
Come on now.
No, well, you know what I mean.
I'm drinking water.
But what was funny is because I slept, I went to bed early on Wednesday night here in Vegas, like ridiculous early, but I couldn't sleep. And he goes, and in his speech, he goes, do you know why you can't sleep in Vegas? Because you're not hydrated. I go, well, son of a gun. So I drank like 4 waters last night and slept like a baby.
So guys, we're at 10 minutes. We got a few more takeaways to go through and finish a wrap up on the show. But if you attended the event and you're on this, I don't care whether you're watching the recording or you're on it live right now, let us know what were your one takeaway, top 2 takeaways, top 3, whatever you want to put in chat. It'd be good to know. No one cut and paste all their notes just because I'm looking for the gold. Like, what was your gold in this? So anything you guys want to share in chat or any questions you have for me, feel free to put those in chat. So Renee Rodriguez closed out the Modern Mortgage Summit. So then we started the Modern Real Estate Summit. But Scott already covered some of this, but the best lessons are found in the struggle. So guys, we're finding all our best lessons right now.
Yep.
It's struggle time. Build a positive relationship with suffering.
Yep.
I think just saying that
Yep.
is powerful to like acknowledge that, there's so much value in suffering. While we were having Jeremy Forcier had a little open bar meetup, and I was sitting next to him and
Robin.
God, and who else? I had another conversation, and it just came out like that time that I was suffering is where I really gained so much value.
Mhm.
And then there was a woman that I've known for a long time. I don't want to call out names just because it's personal information, but she had called out that she had overcome cancer.
Mhm.
And she's like, it was the worst and the best thing that ever happened to me.
Right.
And she really connected with what Renee said, and how, you know, that suffering, she found so much positivity to it.
Mhm.
Again, not that, you know, you want to do it that way. Spring Benson, now we are going into the modern real estate summit.
Mhm.
Her numbers were insane. Do you remember her numbers?
Oh, geez. I
Well-
was shocked. Oh, think of struggles there. Think of the whole
Well, yeah.
voting thing,
Yeah.
and then how she persevered through being a high development.
It was one of America's
Yeah,
most successful
thousands.
real estate leader,
Yeah.
but her takeaways were know your numbers.
Numbers.
I personally, I did a post yesterday called Moneyball Mortgage Leadership. I put it in both the Facebook group
Mhm.
as well as LinkedIn.
Mhm.
Guys, read that. Like
Mhm.
I think one of the most important things we can do right here, right now, is know our numbers. If you are a manager or leader, you know your numbers. And when I say know your numbers, I'm not talking about how many loans you closed and what your personal production was.
Market.
I'm talking about what is your conversion, what is your profitability. Remember, your profitability score and how it compares within the organization is your sales fitness score. Are you delivering value? Or are you selling price?
Mhm.
It's how many leads did you get?
Mhm.
It's what is your customer satisfaction score? It's the score beneath the score. Craig Sewing, your content is your story and your personal brand. How to get rid of fear on stage. He gave usually Craig gives a very, I don't know, high multimedia presentation. It's got some video, it's got some music, it's got slides. He just went up TED Talk style
Mhm.
and rocked it.
Mhm.
I thought he killed it. Seth O'Byrne, I could say in front of so many people, they sold the show,
Oh, yeah.
like, because
Oh, yeah.
everyone was just
Yeah.
pure fire.
Yeah.
But in some ways he did, because we made a mistake. We didn't get his slides ready. And he had incredible slides that really helped tell an incredible story. And he didn't have them. Like,
Yeah.
click,
Yeah.
click, and we're like, where's the slides? And I'm like, where's the slides? And we don't have any slides. So
And he just went through it like just come on.
and I've seen his slides, and I think it might have actually been better. I mean, he was actually like, oh, pretend there's a graph chart here. But takeaways from his presentations is
leverage.
leverage.
Yeah.
Assets give you time.
Mhm.
Assets give you income. And he was talking about assets investing in real estate. Like
Mhm.
his whole
Mhm.
message was, as mortgage and real estate professionals,
Mhm.
if we truly want to achieve financial freedom,
Mhm.
if we truly want to achieve and create generational wealth, we
Mhm.
need to invest in real estate.
Mhm.
And it was an incredible presentation.
Mhm.
I will be interviewing him on the Mortgage Coach YouTube channel.
Mhm.
And, it probably won't be exactly what he was going to do on the stage, because it'll probably be 30 minutes, but we're going to unpack that. So stay tuned for that. But, takeaway was leverage,
Yep.
invest in real estate,
Yep.
buy units,
Yep.
fix and flip,
Tax advantages.
play
tax
it.
advantages.
Shannon Gillette.
Yeah.
I'd never heard her. She was
She was
she was
good.
insane.
Oh yeah, she was money.
Jeremy Forcier, like, I walked by and he was just like, this is incredible.
Can I say that was the one I had lunch with?
Oh, was it really?
Yeah. She's the one that said, don't call me without value. Don't waste my time. So you better have that 1-2 punch when you call on Shannon Gillette. But here's the thing though. When you got into the agent segment of this, a massive opportunity for all of us on the financial side, they don't have access to our financial minds. They need that.
Yeah.
So creating content for education and financing and strategies and all that opportunity, they need that. That's value. There's your value. Shoot, there's your mortgage coach. There's your lender launchpad. Create it for Shannon so she can push it. And that's the one. She's the one I said, what if I did this? She goes, that's what I need. So there you go.
Yeah. And then, Jason Mitchell started the whole thing off. It's all about leverage, scale.
Mhm.
And we actually gave him more time. So he actually gave a double presentation. It was 30 full minutes. And we had to pull him off stage. I mean, he could have kept
Yeah.
going. But it was incredible. And my takeaways for that is, first of all, he measures everything.
Everything. Those
He
numbers.
he uses sales boomerang. He knows how to turn data into gold. He has incredible processes. His number one focus is creating systems and creating relationships that help him scale and bring leads to his
Mhm.
community of realtors. And to me, it was a great kind of like check at the end to have the number one realtor in America, $3.3 billion in real estate and growing.
Mhm.
And what was he all about? Scale, leverage, using technology. So cool. So we're 3 minutes left. What do you want to cover?
Well, with him in particular, what caught me is, man, he's intense when he wants to be intense, and he's organized. And like you were saying, but two things, he's already 1,500 units year to date closed already.
Yeah,
Down
1,500.
market? There's no down market to that guy. Number two, and this is what we get caught up, or a lot of people, or most of the LOs in the industry, they get caught up on that one file. Like, oh my God, this thing's just a disaster. And he says, why agents, why are you selling a $150,000 home? I don't sell a $150,000 home. I sell that. My team sells that. So as far as us originators, don't get caught up in the, that one file. Your team can handle that, right?
So
Leverage.
Kim Lynch, who was an attendee at the event,
Yeah, I
said,
saw her comment.
Wally,
Yeah.
build a business within a business
Yep.
till you can't, till you can build a business.
Yep.
She also called out Shannon, loved her comment of how she made a video for every step of the way.
Yep.
Kelly Zitlow does that, Dan Keller does that. Denise Donahue does that.
Comment to that. So think about this for all of you watching right now. That is super important right there. So there's leverage and scalability. It's every step of the way they're building. Okay, this is next step. Congratulations, funded, whatever they're doing. So what Denise does really well, she already has that canned, and then she puts it in Lender Launchpad. So Lender Launchpad is the canvas. You go TCA, here's the initial consultation, but it's meet Denise and her team, next steps, the do's and don'ts. All of this is packaged up. So what I would question those who do that right there, how are you delivering that? Is it piecemeal? Is it piece links, right? Is it discombobulated? So Lender Launchpad organizes that content so every client gets the same messaging, but also you don't do 532 units like Denise does without having something like that to leverage and scale on. Because it looks like from a consumer, she's on every corner I turn. She's everywhere.
So guys, we are out of time. Hopefully you got value from these takeaways. If you were at the event or you watched the event and you want to share some other takeaways within the chat, we would love for you to do that. Todd Bookspan will be releasing the final kind of collaborative notes on Monday. Super grateful for you. If you don't already, make sure you subscribe to the Mortgage Coach YouTube channel. That is Netflix for loan officers, teaching best practices around what's working in the market today. And then we have the Trust Engine YouTube channel, which is modern leadership for lenders. So where I am interviewing top producers. Jeremy said, great recap. Thank you, Jeremy. And if you guys thought Scott did a great job as our special guest today, give him a little emoji. I'm going to give you a little heart. So heart for me.
That was you.
Yeah.
I got there you go. Look at see.
Hard
Hard to keep up with this guy.
Yeah. All right. All right. No, you did good, bro. All right. Take care, everybody. Have a
you.
great weekend.
Thanks all.